What's going on, guys? It's your boy Alvin here, back with another video. Today we are going to be looking at the greatest heist in American history. So without any further ado, let's get started.
January 17th, 1950, a seemingly ordinary night in Boston. Beneath the surface, 11 men, driven by greed and ambition, pulled off the crime of the century, one of the most meticulously planned robberies in U.S. history. In less than 35 minutes, they would vanish with over $30 million in today's money. This is the story of a heist that shook the nation, a story that inspired one of the most successful movies in Hollywood, an operation that would later crash down, all because of a single man with a grudge. This is the story of the Great Brinks robbery.
So we are going to be judging it based on, is it really the smartest and greatest robbery of all time, or is it just some mistake of the authorities, or like a failing of some kind of police investigation? So let's see.
The real Ocean's 11. In the 1940s, there was a well-known building in Boston, a building famous not for historical importance, but because this particular building was playing the role of a huge safe holding millions of dollars in cash, checks, and other valuable items. A building that belonged to Brinks, a financial security company based in Boston, Massachusetts. At the time, the Brinks building was considered to be
I mean, I remember like some of watching some videos where they would break into old, like not this the 1800s, chest and bank safes. I mean, those bank safes are really, really tough. I mean, I probably now it's going to be way more technologically advanced and better, but like the during those times they really built like very strong safes of just pure like this thick of metal. I mean, I don't know if they are still like during 1940s also they used those kinds or they were different or not.
one of the most secure buildings in the whole country, an unbreakable safe no one dared to challenge. However, someone wasn't quite convinced. Anthony Pino, a career criminal known for his petty thefts in the north end of Boston, started to flirt with the idea of breaking into Brinks. In 1947, after months of gathering intel about the building, he realized he wouldn't be able to get the job done on his own. He needed a team, but not any team. He turned to Joseph McGinnis, a legend in Boston's underworld, a man who commanded respect and knew the city's dark corners like the back of his hand. They needed muscle, so they brought in Joseph Specs O'Keefe and Stanley Gusciora, tough guys who could intimidate anyone. Vincent Costa, Pino's brother-in-law, serving as the lookout. John Banfield, a trusted man.
So it was like a proper movie plan out there. I think they had each person for each specific roles. I mean, most of the robberies done would have that because, each person has a different skill and talent. I mean, it's not put to a good use here, but still, I mean, yes, probably very well planned out. Like this, it took months to collect data. I mean, the courage and the audacity to do something like this is absolutely insane because the fact that you get caught, it's basically game over. And even if you escape, it's just really hard to kind of, use the money unless it's like pure gold or something. I mean, even then, because the bank would probably know which note was stolen right now in probably more modern world. Like you would know which serial number of notes were lost, and they could just kind of ban them. Yeah, you could use in small thrift shops or something like that, but to properly use all 30 million up in like a huge sum deal or something would just be like very hard and impractical, to be honest.
Of McGinnis would be the getaway driver. To round out their team, they recruited James Ignatius Fierdy, a master of armed robbery, with the addition of Adolph Maffei, Michael Vincent Keegan, Thomas Francis Richardson, and Henry Baker. 11 men, each with their own skills and motivations, united by a shared hunger for a fortune that seemed impossible to obtain. Once the task of assembling the crew was complete, Pino needed a plan. He knew that this could take months to figure out, but he and the team had all the time in the world. The crew's plan needed to be perfect, a quick in and out with no evidence behind. But a perfect plan must involve carefully executed steps, from observation all the way to reliable alibis. The months leading up to the robbery were a blur of careful planning. Pino studied the schedules, the shipments, the daily routine, even the way the lights flickered on and off. His biggest challenge? The money was on the second floor.
And guys, I don't know if this is the official map or something. but probably they would have, kind of drawn this out to kind of figure out where the vault is. It's in the second floor, like there's a counting room, second floor, and accessory room. I mean, I don't know if they will use some this kind of basic map to kind of plan it out, but it's really possible. We are not sure. I don't think they would have gone in though, because if someone repeatedly, there were 11 people, each one of them could go, once a week and kind of map out the place or something. They probably would have done that to kind of get the structure here. Because I don't think they mentioned anyone worked in the bank in their team, so probably they themselves would have to go in and, kind of see the structure themselves to kind of figure it out.
Guarded by 5 locked doors. But Pino had a plan. He and his crew broke into the building after hours, stealing one lock cylinder at a time. They used these stolen cylinders to make keys, then carefully replaced the originals, leaving no trace of their intrusion. They even stole a green 1949 Ford Stake body truck, serving as their escape vehicle. They spent November and December perfecting their getaway route, practicing until every turn and stop was ingrained in their minds. They even designed their disguises: navy pea coats, gloves, chauffeurs' caps, and rubber Halloween masks that completely hid their faces. They made several attempts, getting close, but always pulling back, waiting for the perfect moment.
So, that's really, they like had so many attempts to do it, and I wonder, like, did no one ever notice them, or, 11 people trying to steal, like, any break-ins? It's really not. They were very well planned, I must agree, but like the fact that none of the authorities or bank noticed someone trying to steal a thing 11 times, like, so not 11, but many times, the whole plan went through many times, as well as they mentioned, like, before they went and tried to take the lock and stuff. It's really not much, the bank or the authorities didn't play much notice here, I think.
Finally, on January 17th, 1950, they were ready. The crew met in Roxbury, loaded into the truck, and drove towards their target. Inside the Brinks depot, the crew moved with precision. They forced the employees to the ground, tied their hands, and taped their mouths shut. In just 35 minutes, they had emptied the vault, filling bags with $1.5 million in cash. They vanished into the night, following their carefully planned escape route. Costa fled in a stolen sedan. Gigan established his alibi. Pino and Firety quickly disappeared to create their own, and Banfield disposed of the truck, leaving no trace of their crime. They had pulled off the perfect heist, or so they thought. The federal statute of limitations was just 3 years, but the state statute was 6. If they could just outlast that 6-year window, the money would be theirs, and they could never be brought to justice.
What did they say right there? I didn't get it. So, like, basically, after 6 year, are they like free of crime if they are not caught? I'm not sure how that works. I think, yeah. That's what they meant. If after 6 years they're free to go, that means probably they must be cleared of the charges or something after 6 years if they are not caught.
Clock was ticking. The sirens went off, and within minutes of the robbery, police officers and FBI special agents descended upon the Brinks building. But they were met with a chilling silence. The terrified employees couldn't offer any useful information. They said the robbers were professionals. Their movements were studied and almost robotic. They spoke very little, only leaving behind a mask, tape, and one discarded hat. However, one employee did mention 4 guns, providing a serial number for one. The authorities had a starting point. 2 weeks later, a group of boys playing near the Mystic River found one of the stolen guns, rusted and useless. The next day, another gun was found by a police officer, which
I don't know why they would throw these guns away. Yeah, it is good. So if the police ever caught them, they would have no proof of kind of instantly arresting them. But throwing them in the river, yeah, mm, it's good. It's decent. They could have burned it or something. I don't know how burning a gun would work, but still something a bit more better than just, kind of tossing it away into the river. But yeah, it works. It works.
also turned out useless due to its terrible condition. They began interviewing potential leads, along with past and present Brinks employees. Brinks even offered a $100,000 reward for information. Finally, people started talking. One witness described a green Ford truck with a canvas top parked near the Brinks building the day of the heist. After a month of research, truck parts were discovered at a dump in Stoughton, Massachusetts, confirming the truck's identity. But the location only pointed to 2 men on the authorities' radar. O'Keefe and Gusciora. When questioned, they claimed they had gone out drinking in Boston around 7 p.m. With no concrete evidence, the authorities had to let them go.
So the authorities were kind of smart here. I mean, they did like instantly got to an idea, not instantly, after a month or so, kind of got an idea of who it could be, or at least two people from the gang.
But starting June the same year, things started to go south for Pino and his crew. For Pino's crew, robbing the Brinks building was extremely hard to pull off. But what was even harder was staying off the radar for the entire 6 years. There were two crew members who simply couldn't resist their criminal urges. O'Keefe and Gushira kept going on what they'd call road trips, which was code for burglaries. On one of their road trips in Pennsylvania, the two ended up getting caught and arrested. O'Keefe was sentenced to 3 years, and Gushira was facing 5 to 20 years in prison. While they served their time, the FBI started noticing a bizarre pattern. The two weren't writing back to their families. However, they were writing to a group of men back in Boston, asking them to support their legal defense fund. This group included Pino, McGinnis, Mappy, and Baker. The same group, questioned the following weeks of the robbery, are now writing to each other several months later. Authorities knew something was off. They immediately brought back the group for further questioning. Pino claimed he had been at home until about 7 p.m. before heading to a nearby liquor store owned by none other than Joseph McGinnis, a story confirmed by a Boston police officer who was present at the store. Maffei could not provide an alibi, but Baker insisted he was at home having dinner with his family before leaving at 7 p.m. for a 2-hour walk, during which he claimed he encountered no one. Armed robbery specialist James Fairdy claimed to have been out drinking between 5:10 p.m. and 7:45 p.m. John Banfield said he had been drunk since New Year's Eve, yet an ex-girlfriend reported seeing him stone cold sober on the night of the heist. If you haven't noticed, there's a clear pattern. Around 7 p.m.,
I mean, the ex-girlfriend kind of just gave him up there. I couldn't, I mean, is it compulsory for a person to kind of say what we did on a day? What if you just said, I kind of forgot what I did that day or something like that? What if I ask you what you did like 3 months ago on a specific day and you say I forgot what I did means? I'm not sure if you're like compelled to say what you did a specific day or something, but yeah, please do tell me what about it.
each suspect had independently decided to change locations, making their whereabouts murky during the critical window of 7:10 p.m. to 7:27 p.m., the exact time of the heist. In prison, O'Keefe and Gushira remained calm, revealing nothing to anyone. On November 25th, 1952, a federal grand jury convened to examine the case, as the federal statute of limitations was rapidly approaching its end. Authorities hoped this grand jury would elicit information from witnesses or the suspects themselves, but the jury had nothing of concrete to work with. By January 1953, 3 years after the heist, the jury concluded there wasn't enough evidence to arrest anyone. Pino's crew were safe, but they still had 3 more years to go. 3 years felt like 3 decades for the crew. Over the next year, O'Keefe would go in and out of jail. Each time he contacted the same group of men, pressuring them for financial help. Each time the men grew more and more sour. The air in Boston was thick with tension. March 1954 marked O'Keefe's return, and he wasted no time reuniting with the other suspects. 2 months later, O'Keefe, with a partner in tow, pulled an inexplicable move. They kidnapped Pino's brother-in-law, Costa, holding him captive in a hotel room. 2 days later, following the payment of the ransom, they let Costa go. During police interviews, everyone claimed ignorance, but one thing was crystal clear. O'Keefe had become a liability, and he needed to be dealt with. On June 5th, 1954, O'Keefe found himself at the center of his first assassination attempt. A suspicious car approached. Sensing danger, he instinctively slouched in his seat, narrowly dodging bullets that
Okay, so they are not really just like some skilled robbers. They were like proper mafia men who were ready to shoot and kill anyone in their way, kind of. I mean, it's really stupid from him to try to go against his group anyway. This many years had passed, and again trying to do this. That's really dumb from his side. And also, yeah, I mean, I don't know what his thought process would have been. I mean, he might thought he deserved more money, but like if you could have waited just, I mean, if you could wait like 6 months to risk your life stealing something, why wouldn't you wait 6 years to kind of fully enjoy it? Really not the smart play from this guy. Who is I
Shattered the
forgot his name.
windshield. This was just the beginning. Just 2 days later, the second assassination attempt unfolded. This time, O'Keefe was shot in the chest, but somehow managed to survive. Realizing the mess he was in, he made the decision to flee Boston. However, his escape was short-lived, as he was arrested for possessing a firearm. Violating his parole, he was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Pino knew that having 10 associates would eventually hunt him down. In January 1955, getaway driver Banfield died of natural causes. One down, 10 to go. While authorities felt they were rounding up the suspects, they still had not located any of the money. But they saw the tension within the group as an opportunity to get someone to talk. In prison, O'Keefe was still writing letters to other suspects demanding financial support. With each letter getting ignored, his frustration grew. The clock was ticking. FBI agents, relentless in their pursuit, repeatedly visited O'Keefe, hoping to crack his silence.
I mean, that's one of the major things about FBI and secret agencies. They usually play the mental game, rather than the physical of the normal police or something. They play the long game. They're able to wait and kind of just mentally tire out anyone who stands in their way. And 11 people in the group, when I heard about it, yeah, probably, I mean, 11 is a bit too much, in my opinion. If 7 or 8 would have helped if it was possible. I mean, they were better planned than me, but still, this, I mean, it went down so good. And the thing is that due to this men's character or their like the past life characters were showing up too much, and that kind of caused the downfall. I mean, like, why would you go against steel when you have already like what is like 30 million divided by 11, something like 2.7 million dollars waiting for you after like 6 years. You could just lay low, kind of use some of the money or like do something else for this 6 years, man. After that you're getting 2.7, because after 6 years you are free to kind of rob again or do something. And it's just is not like the self-control of among these people is just very less, I guess.
By December 1955, a shift occurred. O'Keefe's disdain for his former accomplices grew. On January 6, 1956, O'Keefe sat down with the agents and uttered the fateful words.
All right, what do you want to know?
Pino and his crew had waited 5 years, 11 months, and 20 days. They were just 11 days away from claiming the money as theirs. 11 days. On January 12th, the net closed in. Baker, Keegan, Maffei, Costa, McGinnis, and Pino were all apprehended. The following
My God, I can't even think about frustration they're gonna have. Imagine being 11 days of getting $2.7 million, and one of your own guys kind of just give you up. That's so like in them, it's gonna like burn like a frustration. Oh my God.
day, a Suffolk County grand jury issued indictments for the entire crew using O'Keefe as their star witness. Faherty and Richardson fled, becoming fugitives on the FBI's most wanted list. But their escape was short-lived. They were caught hiding in a Dorchester apartment. Gushira was transferred to a Massachusetts prison. On July 9th, he slipped and hit his head in a cell, dying a few hours later. 2 down, 9 to go. The trial of the remaining men started in Boston on August 6th. Each was sentenced to life imprisonment for armed robbery, with additional sentences ranging from 2 to 10 years for conspiracy, theft, and breaking and entering. O'Keefe was the only one to plead guilty. He received a more lenient sentence of just 4 years. 11 down. But there's one question we haven't answered yet. Where is the money? On June 3rd, 1956, a man suspected of circulating counterfeit bills was apprehended by police in Baltimore. During the search, officers discovered over $1,000 in his possession. However, the investigation deepened when they found nearly $4,000 hidden in his hotel room. Among the cash recovered, police matched the serial numbers of $4,635 to those of the bills stolen in the infamous Great Brinks robbery. Under pressure, the man revealed the name of his associate, known as Fat Joe. Authorities swiftly tracked down Fat Joe, leading them to a concealed metal container hidden behind a wall panel. Inside this container lay piles of cash totaling nearly $60,000.
My God, it is indeed a very nicely planned out, and they had a secret associative right here. Fact.
Identified from the Brinks heist. Much of the money was found in a state of decomposition. Despite these discoveries, over 1.1 million of the money stolen has remained missing to this day. Subscribe.
I mean, the people who invested money in the bank kind of lost a lot of money there because the money was never kind of recovered. I don't know what they would do in those situations. Will the government kind of allow the bank to replace the money or something? Do let me know in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, it was indeed a very well planned out robbery, but all crimes get caught. So hope you have a nice day. I've been signing out.